It's a good thing Spider-Man is a good guy, because if he didn't pull his punches, he could easily destroy most villains. But some can stand blow for blow against him. So let's look at the 3 strongest Spider-Man villains. How can Spider-Man stop a foe that cannot be injured? This is the question posed on the cover of The Amazing Spider-Man number 4 from 1963. The first appearance of Sandman, petty criminal Flint Marko, became a supervillain after radiation from a nuclear testing site caused the beach's sands to fuse with Marko's molecular structure, turning him into a man of, well, sand. He's not just made of sand, though. He can also control the mineral, reshaping and morphing his body, increasing his size and strength. He can even duplicate himself into a variety of sand clones. A frequent member of the Sinister Six since their first incarnation, Sandman is always an imposing threat, even holding his own against Spider-Man, Black Widow, and Silver Sable in The Amazing Spider-Man number 684. He's capable of lifting upwards of 80 tons, so if Sandman puts you to sleep, you're not waking up. He packs quite the punch, but nobody delivers a hard fist like number 2, Moreland. Nothing's ever hit me that hard. Not the Hulk. Not Thor? Nobody, he said after he first took a punch from Moreland in the final pages of J. Michael Straczynski's The Amazing Spider-Man number 32. The totem-devouring energy vampire from Earth-001 is practically invulnerable, absorbing damage the way he does spider totems. Spidey's only hope for a W was trickery, injecting himself with a high dose of radiation. The Waller Crawler allowed Moreland to feed on him, essentially overdosing the vampire in The Amazing Spider-Man number 35. Weakened by the radiation, Moreland was a much more manageable opponent. Moreland is tough enough, but then there's his family, the Inheritors. Together, they almost brought down the entire Spider-Verse in the Amazing Spider-Man Spider-Verse storyline from 2014. Each time the two square up, Moreland's impossible strength forces the webhead to use his head to survive. Unfortunately, not all of Spidey's variants have been as successful when facing Moreland. With a connection that spans the Spider-Verse, it would be easy to assume Moreland is Spidey's arch nemesis. But at number 1, we've got Dr. Octopus. His physique might not be very intimidating, but the 4 mechanical tentacles permanently affixed to his frame are frightening. Billed in his debut issue, The Amazing Spider-Man number 3, as the only enemy ever to defeat Spider-Man. While his tentacle-like arms give him the physical force to slug it out with Spider-Man, the Doc's strongest muscle is his brain. Smart enough to know strength lies in numbers, Dr. Otto Octavius assembled the Sinister Six in The Amazing Spider-Man Annual number 1. His greatest achievement was yet to come, beginning all the way back in The Amazing Spider-Man number 642, when a dying Doc Ock attempts to save himself. The payoff comes in The Amazing Spider-Man number 698, when Dr. Octopus manages to swap their bodies, taking control of Peter Parker, and by extension, Spider-Man. To add insult to injury, as the superior Spider-Man, Doc Ock arguably Spider-Man'd better than Spider-Man himself.